Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, what the heck are you waiting for? Subscribe and hit the bell icon right here, right now. And yeah, you'll never miss an episode if you got that bell ticked, that bell pushed down. So, I'm going to do a movie review right now, and this film is called What's Love Got to Do with It? If you don't like spoilers, please do not watch this video. So, yes, tonight, well, a little while ago now, last night I should say, we've gone through to the next day, I watched What's Love Got to Do with It? And I wasn't sure where I was going to like it or not because it's a romantic comedy and I'd seen some of the trailers, but the thing that particularly interested me, it was a Pakistani guy having an arranged marriage from what I could see of the trailers, and the girl who was his friend actually was in love with him. So I thought this could be really interesting, especially obviously as I like foreign guys, particularly Indian, but I also do like Pakistani guys. And I wanted to see what would happen in the movie. So this is actually, a screenshot from the movie. And basically what happens is Zoe, who's the main character, and Kaz, these two are the main characters, right? And Kaz is the Pakistani guy and then Zoe's the girl. Just in case you were wondering, because obviously genders are different these days. So anyway, Kaz is Zoe's next door neighbor and childhood friend. And Zoe lives with her mother, and the mother's husband ran off with a younger woman. And basically, so Zoe's with the mum, wife, and from what I can make out, they live together because they are neighbors to a Pakistani family. And so basically, Zoe has grown up knowing the Pakistani family. They are like family to her and her mum. And Kaz is a Pakistani guy. So he's her neighbor and her friend, and they've been friends since childhood. And so they've got a really strong friendship, right? Very natural around each other, very good with each other. But what happens is one day in the movie, Kaz decides he's going to allow his family to arrange a marriage for him. He's 32, and so he's going to allow his family to arrange a marriage, and he's given permission for them to do this. So unlike a forced arranged marriage where your parents are just like, I'm arranging your marriage, you've got no say in it, he's had a say in it, and he's decided that it's best for the family and himself to have an arranged marriage. So Zoe is actually a filmmaker, documentary maker, and she's asked if she can film him getting married, but before he gets married, if she can film the whole thing from the time he starts looking for a wife up until the wedding and throughout the wedding. And so this is a very interesting film. You can tell that in the beginning, um, there's very good chemistry between the girl who plays Zoe and the guy who plays Kaz. And you can tell that there's always this chemistry going on, even though they're just friends. And you can tell they really like each other more than friends, really. So that was kind of like a big thing throughout the movie. And as she's filming Kaz, she does go on, Zoe goes on this dating app, but whenever she gets dates with guys, they just turn out to be the wrong guys, bad for her, only interested in her for her body, really, and not very intelligent, not the type of guy she would really want. They don't deserve her, really. They're guys she would settle for rather than really, want to be with and have chemistry with. And what happens is the mother of Zoe tries to pair her up with the vet, and Zoe, as she makes this documentary about her friend, she really fall, falls in love even more with her friend. It's obvious that they had something between them, really, feelings for each other in the beginning. But as the movie progresses, it's like, oh, I didn't really realize how much I do actually love my friend, who's also my neighbor. So she films him getting this arranged marriage, and she goes to Lahore, which is a place in Pakistan, with her mother, with the family, because they're like neighbors, to film him meeting this Pakistani woman. But first of all, he goes to this like matrimonial service, and there's this guy who's like, I think he's called Mo the matchmaker, and he's asking the Pakistani guy, what what type of wife he'd like, what type of person. But his parents are there, and his parents are like overruling him, saying, she's got to be Pakistani, she's got to be this certain religion, she's got to be this, ethnicity. And he is like more flexible. He's like, well, they don't have to be Pakistani. And then the father's like, yes, she does. And so he already knows that he can't really marry his friend because she's British, even though he's a British born Pakistan and Pakistani, if you like. And so what happens is uh he meets this girl on the internet, this Indian woman who's 22, he's 32, and he meets her and he goes over there because he's been chatting to her, and they've been hanging out together on Skype, I think it is, phoning each other, WhatsApping each other. So they got time to get to know each other, and he goes over there to get married, and he's engaged, and he's got like a month to get over there and marry her, basically. And then his friend goes over with the neighbors, so they all go together. But as Zoe's filming the marriage, she just thinks it's just like a fake, it's all fake, because she sees Zoe crying at a party. Like, the party is the wedding party before the wedding. And what then happens is, as well, at the party, Zoe is drinking loads of alcohol. She's really loud, really extroverted, getting everyone dancing. And Kaz, is a different type of person to her. And he wants to like settle down more. He doesn't want to be like this wild type of person. And he's not really that interested in her, because he leaves his own wedding ceremony party to go and talk to Zoe. And Zoe like films him in this room, and she's like, so are you nervous about the wedding? How you feel about it? Is everything going good? Do you still want to do it? And he's like, yeah, it's all great, and she's just thinking, well, I think she's thinking he's not telling the truth, and she wants to say, don't marry this woman, but she just can't do it, because he's told her categorically it's what his family want, it's what he wants, and he's happy to get married. And then she brings up the fact that everything's fake, that he's faking it, that everyone's faking it, because she knows or believes that he really likes her. So Zoe feels that Kaz really likes her, but he can't admit it, and he's just going along with his family's tradition, because that's what Pakistanis do, and he's basically conning himself. And I think this is like true some of the time. It's good because the documentary does cover the fact that some arranged marriages are good. That Kaz's brother had an arranged marriage, and he actually gets on really well with his wife, and they're a very loving couple. That Kaz's parents had an arranged marriage, and they love each other. And so that, he's got a family background of these working out really well. But then there's one person in the family, she married a British guy, and basically her Pakistani family, especially the nana, disowned her because she's married a British guy. And it's like, you brought shame on the family because you chose a British guy over the family, And the Pakistani guy, Kaz, when he's going to get married, and so he's questioning him, he's already said that, that basically, he basically chooses family over like marrying someone he loves, because family, like, you got to choose your family over basically someone you love. You got to put your family first, which I totally disagree with, but there you go. And so I think you should marry who the hell you want to marry, and I personally think you should only ever marry for love. I would never ever ever get married to someone I didn't love, and I don't want marriage anyway. But I don't see the point in spending the rest of your life with someone you don't love. And so what happens is, he does go through the wedding, they sign it, but she's crying, his bride's crying, and Kaz's mother is like, oh, this is just normal, because she's leaving the family, going to London, because she moves to London from Lahore. She's 22 years old. And what happens is, like, they've just got married, and then there's messages. Kaz is getting messaged by Zoe. Uh, Excuse me. Because Zoe, when she did the documentary at the end, um, they did the wedding, and then at the end, she actually showed the fact that a member of the family is married to someone who's British and how difficult that was for them. But it's still like she would still have married him, even knowing that the family disowned her, basically, because you can't help who you fall in love with. And because she did that at the end of the documentary, her neighbours, like Kaz's family, are not that happy with her anymore. Kaz isn't happy with her. And so she just feels like so alone and lost, and she ends up going off the rails. So he does, going with guys who basically just want sex with her, and she feels really empty and stuff like this. But it was horrible because before Kaz got married, when she said, "Are you sure you want to marry her?" and everything, like everyone's being fake, and then he turns around and goes, "Oh well, you're like, you're after guys that just like lower than you are. Like, why do you want to go for that?" And he's being quite horrible to her, which is not nice. Basically saying she's lowering herself to these guys, and it's just not nice. But I think it's just because he has feelings for her and he's trying to push them aside, and trying to point the finger at her for her failed relationships, when really they're meant to be together because they do have chemistry. But one bit of the film that's very interesting, before he got married, Kaz, he said, "Oh, a lot of Pakistani marriages don't have sex even after the wedding night." Because she said, "Oh, it must be horrible getting married to someone, not knowing if you're sexually compatible," which I always agree with. I personally don't think anyone should get married without having sex first, even though I don't want sex myself. I just don't think they should do it, because like, if you're not sexually compatible, it can just make life very not pleasant when after you're married, especially if sex is something you want to do. But it's very interesting because he said that even after marriage, a lot of Pakistani marriages don't have sex in it. And so I'm thinking, are they asexual, the Pakistani couples then? Are they having like an asexual relationship, or are there a lot of Pakistanis actually asexual and don't have sex? So that was very, very interesting. But I can't say this is a no sex movie, because Zoe was having sex with guys in the movie. Although you couldn't really see the sex, it was just more implied, like she was kissing the guys and they were coming back to her place. But like one guy, he was actually already in a relationship with someone, probably married. And so, she just felt used. And then she did actually get with the vet, Zoe did, because she thought, I'll settle for him because he's nice and pleasant. And basically, her friend Kaz had a go at her, saying she goes for low lives and guys that are not really good for her, and kind of blaming her for that. Like she can't be on her own. And that was really horrible. So she's really hurt. But the vet splits up with her because he overhears her saying that she likes him and that like is better than love. But then he realizes, she doesn't love him, and he wants to have someone who loves him. He doesn't want to settle. And I think that's really important. You should never settle in life. If someone doesn't love you, you should go and be with someone who does love you. I believe that you should never ever have an arranged marriage unless you love the person and unless you don't love anyone else. And I actually have come across a lot of Indian guys in my time who are in love with a woman who's married to someone else. And some of these Indian guys, they never get over that woman. They are still in love with her years later. And it doesn't matter what relationship happens in the future, their heart still belongs to that person. There was one guy I met on a dating app a long time ago, and he actually told me that he couldn't give his heart to anyone else. That's why he liked me, because I was asexual. So he thought I wasn't looking for a relationship. I hate it when people assume that. And like, just because I'm not having sex doesn't mean to say I don't want a relationship permanently, full time. And so anyway, he's like, "Oh, my heart's with this woman," and he sent me a picture of him and her where they'd be Skyping. He said, "Oh, she married someone else in the end, but me and her Skype regularly, because he loves her and he could never give his heart to someone else." And I'm just thinking that is such a waste of life and marriage. So basically, he's having an emotional affair with this woman because he's communicating with her regularly. This is true, and this, she's married to someone else. I don't see the point. It's absolutely awful. I hate the fact that people are married to the wrong people and in relationships with the wrong people. I do not believe you should be in a relationship with the wrong person. I think you should find the person who loves and adores you for who you are, and you should be with that person. You know, someone who treat you well, you know. So I know some guys that just love bitches, but it's true, unfortunately. And if you're really nice to them, it's like they don't appreciate it. So, but there are nice guys out there. I truly believe that. I'm doing speed dating soon as well. That'll be interesting on the 2nd of April. Um, Virtual speed dating. So anyway, going back to the movie. Um, yeah, so going back to the movie, like Kaz gets married and to Zoe. Zoe moves to London and both their phones go off, and Zoe's been messaging Kaz saying, I can change the end of the movie if you don't like it, because she doesn't want to lose her friend, basically. And then Zoe's phone rings, like it keeps sending messages basically, and notifications, not really phone calls, but notification, you know, when it's ringing, like a ringtone, like with the pinging with the messages. Anyway, she shows it to him, to Kaz. Bear in mind they've just got married, they haven't been married long at all. And he's like, and this message says, I can't bear to think of you in bed with another guy. And Kaz realizes she loves someone else, and you know, her heart's with someone else. And so Kaz then realizes that, you know, he can't be with Zoe. She loves someone else. And instead of them just going along continuing to fake stuff, they decide that they're going to tell the truth. So in the meantime, before they decide to tell the truth, Kaz's mum's visited him at work. He's a doctor. And she's like, oh, are you happy married? And he's like, yeah, everything's all right. But then when he discovers that she loves someone else, and he knows he loves someone else really, which is Zoe, and they in the end decide to tell the truth, and they said to Zoe that, you know, it will be a truthful ending. And so Kaz then has to break the news to his family that Zoe's not with him anymore, that she loves someone else, but even though they're married, they can get divorced if they say divorce, 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 or something like that 3 times, and they're just automatically divorced. And like, so his mum was going, "Oh, I wish it was just so easy like that in the UK," which I think, yeah, I do think that's a good thing. And so yeah, basically that was like, you know, so he went, and Kaz realized, you know, that he can be with the one he loves, Zoe, because he's like, he decides to tell his parents, be brave and tell his parents he smokes. He smokes since he's 15, and only Zoe's ever known that because it's frowned upon in Muslim religion, and not just the Muslim religion. So it's um, frowned upon because he's a doctor as well, you know. So I think it's because he's a doctor, you know, he's supposed to be healthy, and he smokes really, but also he does, you know, other things that's not really that's the main thing. But, you know, it's not what a Muslim would usually do either. There's something else as well. But basically, he brings the woman in the family who married a British guy. He brings her to the family home, and basically, you know, introduces their son. I think it's their son, or is it girl? Their kid anyway, introduces their child to the family and gets a nana to accept the kid, and they accept the husband who's British in the end. And Zoe and Kaz end up kissing and wanting to spend the rest of their life with each other, basically. So it all ends as a happy ending in the end. But you know, I wasn't sure if they were going to do that or not, because they're like, oh, this doesn't happen in real life. But I really wish it did. I really, really, really wish that more and more people would not have arranged marriages in the first place, unless they're really happy that they think they can love the person, or you know, they just like come clean about who they really love. You know, I feel it's just such a waste of life when I just actually genuinely come into contact with a lot of Indian guys that still love their first love in school, that still love someone else, even though they're married to someone else, that desperately want to be with that person, you know? I think if you've got someone who desperately loves you so much, then you should be with that person, providing you love them so much back, you know? Because I think true love is a very, very special and rare thing these days. I did see what they were saying about the benefits of arranged marriage, that, like when people are dating these days, especially in Western cultures, it's all swipe, swipe, swipe. And they're just looking to get the next best thing. They're not even focusing on making it work with one person. They're just looking for the next dopamine hit and fix, basically. Whereas arranged marriages, you're more likely to work at it. But if you end up getting someone in a relationship where you're doing all the work in the relationship and they're not, it's dreadful. It's absolutely awful. You'd have to have two people who equally work on the relationship. And if both people are not like that, or only one person is, it's going to create huge disharmony. You know, I would never, ever, ever advocate arranged marriages unless it's something you really, really want to do yourself wholeheartedly, because I just don't think it's good. I've been connected to Indian guys before. I was one particular one on Facebook dating, I met him. And we had a connection, but I hadn't at that point met him, and I never got to meet him in the end. And I said to him, like, wouldn't you rather be with someone like me who you have a genuine connection with than be with some woman you don't even know just to please your parents? And he's like, yeah, but I've been with my parents for like 25 years. I've known them. I've only just known you a short time. So his parents automatically come before me. And I just think that's such a waste. Like, it's like, but you were connected to me. Do you know what I mean? So connection doesn't seem to win with these people. They're more interested in family and what matters most to their family. But I really, really hope that when people see this movie, they just realize that, my God, a lot of it is fake, and because they're pretending to be someone they're not just to please the family. And that, someone does think, oh my God, I'm going to miss out on the person I truly love and truly want to be with for the rest of my life. And life is too frigging short, and I just need to go and get that person. I personally like making dreams come true. I personally like the things that I see in movies to make them happen in real life. And I believe a lot of them can happen in real life, but you've got to have two participants. You can't just have one. Do you know what I mean? So, for me personally, I'm thinking, go and live your dreams. Go and live the love of your dreams. Go and be with the one you love. And if you find true love, hang on to it tight, because it's really precious. Because it is swipe culture out there. Dating scene is not pretty these days. It's literally swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, swipe, 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 swipe. It's very difficult. I have not tried virtual online speed dating yet, but I have got it booked for the 2nd of April when I'm talking in this video. And I am looking forward to doing that, but I don't know how many people will be serious, because I mean, they should be more serious because they're actually specifically wanting to do dating rather than some guy I just meet at a club, for example. But again, a lot of these people, they're not actually prepared for a relationship. I find that a lot of the people who like kind of stumble into dating, they're not really thinking logically about, okay, how can I fit that person into my life? What work do I need to do on myself to make myself a better person for this future person? How can I improve my relationship skills? How can I improve my communication skills? And all this lot. So I'd urge you, if you are a person who is even thinking about a relationship, you should be working on yourself before you get into the relationship. So many people are just like, oh yeah, I'd like a relationship. And I'm like, okay, like what does that entail? Like, how does that look for you? How are you going to fit this person into your life? What days are you going to see them? How much time are you going to spend with them? Are you going to be messaging them? Are you going to be Skyping or video calling them some other way? How are you going to fit them into your life? How are you going to fit them around your work and your gym and your friends and everything like that? How are you going to make time for them each week? Because unless you nurture a relationship, it's not going to work. And how invested are you? Do you just want like a trophy girlfriend where that she just looks good on your arm, or do you actually want to work for a relationship and make things happen? Do you actually want to grow as a person, grow in the relationship, and be good for each other and healthy? So many people have done all work on themselves, and they just expect to go into a relationship and everything to be hunky-dory. Life's not like that. You have to work at a relationship. You have to work on yourself to be better in a relationship. I still got work to do on myself, I admit it, work is a ongoing thing. You have to work on yourself consistently. But I just wonder how many people on these speed dating are actually thinking like, "Oh, I'd like a relationship and I'm prepared for one," or "I'd like a relationship because I'm lonely, but it would be nice." You know, if someone's coming from a loneliness place, they haven't really considered the other person's feelings, they're just feeling sorry for themselves. You know, that is not a good basis to get into a relationship with anyone, right? You should only get into a relationship with someone because you genuinely want a relationship. You like the person, you get on well with them, you have compatibility, and you genuinely want to take things forward, right? If all you do is just want some trophy or someone to message you now again, it's not going to work. You need someone who's committed and persistent and consistent with you over time and who genuinely cares about you, you know? And so I'm looking forward to speed dating, but I don't know how many of these people are actually serious. And I mean, there is quite a lot of foreign guys on this speed dating. So in some ways it might be good for me, but some of them don't even live in the UK because it's like a international thing. And, you know, it's like, how many of them just want a wife for a visa as well? You know what I mean? I will not get married. I'm not into marriage at all. But and a lot of guys, they just want marriage for a housewife type of person as well, which was interesting because in this movie, the Mo, who was a matchmaker, was asking the matrimonial service to the Pakistani guy Kaz, like, what type of woman do you want? Should do you want her to be career orientated or do you want to be a housewife? And the parents were like saying, "Oh, in between would be good," and stuff like this, you know. So I thought it was good that they put that in there. But I mean, I honestly do think that there's quite a lot of fakeness with Indian or Pakistani or any type of arranged marriage. I do know there are some people who want arranged marriage. I had a friend, he was 31, Indian, before he got married. I still see his posts on Facebook because I'm still connected. He's just had a baby with his wife. He was very sexual, and he used to say some sexual stuff to me, and it's quite shocking I'm still friends with him after all these years on Facebook, but he doesn't talk to me anymore. He's a good boy now. He used to be very bad with like flirting with women and me and saying sexual stuff, but he's not like that at all now. Like his personal messenger is cut off, so he can't talk to any other women, but he still posts and stuff. But yeah, they've just had a baby, which I'm really pleased for him. But he wanted an arranged marriage, but he had like a say in it, because he's like, oh, I want an arranged marriage. I want to meet the right woman. So that is a bit different, but that's meant to be how Kaz is. But Kaz is doing it for family reasons. He's not really doing it so much because he wants to, even though he said he wants to. Really, there's a lot of like family politics involved in it, and he's going along with it when really, the girl's not suitable for him. And so, I'm glad in the end that he did get with Zoe, and she isn't Pakistani, but she goes really well with him. They've known each other for a long time, and he clearly shares his secrets with her. And it was so hard to watch her filming him, knowing that she loved him. I thought the acting was really superb from both the person who played Zoe and the person who played Cass. I mean, all the actors and actresses were really good in this movie. I would definitely recommend seeing it. Thought it was a really good movie. And you don't actually see any sex stuff. There is like kissing, and like Zoe's on the bed at one point having had sex, but you don't actually see sex, if you know what I mean. Um, but yeah, there are some bits that are a bit uncomfortable when you see these guys not really caring about her, just a body, and they're trying to kiss her, and you can feel that it is a little bit triggering because it's a little bit rapey. Like one of the guys, particularly, like you can tell he just want, but she slams the door, basically, she turns the door in his face, but you can tell it's just like lust and just like taking advantage of her sexually, really at her most vulnerable time. It's just really not good. I didn't like those bits. They did make me uncomfortable. Even though you don't see that much, it's just enough. But I really, really wished and prayed that just more people would be with the ones they truly love rather than, settling for a marriage just because it's convenient, because society and community dictate it, because their parents dictate it. I feel sorry for all the love that I come across that's just like, how can I put it, misfired, not even with, it's going nowhere. I think love is so precious, and I know an Indian guy who loves a woman who's married to someone else, but the marriage is horrible. She's really in a bad marriage. And and he loves her, and it's like, I just think you should be with her because she's clearly not happy with her husband. The husband's clearly not happy with her, so he just likes to control her. Basically, it's horrible. This is real life I'm talking about now, and so, and like, there are Indian guys that like older girls. There are Indian guys that like British women. And I know I was talking about, the main character's a Pakistani guy, not an Indian guy. I like Indian guys more than Pakistani guys. But, I think that people should just be with the ones they love, no matter what the gender, no matter what the sexual orientation, no matter what the color of the skin. I think people should just be with the one they love. It shouldn't be about ethnicity. It shouldn't be about religion. It should be about compatibility of the two people that are actually in the relationship, where they think they're compatible or not. I read an article recently, like, I don't know if it's like 24 hours ago, and this one person's married. Oh yeah, I think it was an Indian actor. He's like Hindi, and his wife's Muslim. And it's like they both love each other and they both make it work because they both respect each other's different religions. So you don't have to be the same religion, you just have to love each other, be kind and caring towards each other, have each other's best interests at heart, and really dote on that person. Like, they should be your world in effect, in a healthy way. And I really wish that society would just open up. I think, it's a shame because I come across Indian guys that do like an older girl like me, but if their mum disapproves, that's it. And I like younger guys, so I need to find a younger guy whose mum approves of me, or who he doesn't care whether his mum approves of me or not. You know, because I'd like her to, because I think it would make life much better for him if she accepted me. But for me, it would just be like I was her daughter, even though, like, in birth certificate age, I'm older than 21, but in mindset age and lifestyle, I'm young. And so I just be thinking like I'm a younger daughter, you know. But it takes a lot to have someone accept you, especially like in the movie, the guy's 32, Kaz is, and Zoe is 22. So there's a 10-year age gap. But Zoe said to Kaz, doesn't it matter? And he's like, no. But there is a difference because she likes going out partying. He's not that type, but I am the type that likes to go out partying. So I do live and have the mindset like I'm 21. I live like that age. So I do like doing that type of thing when I'm well, obviously. And so for me, like, the age gap really isn't that noticeable in some ways like that. But I think it's always interesting that people don't bat an eyelid when the guy is older, but as soon as the girl is older, it's more frowned upon. But there are women in India, in Hindi movies, that are older, and younger guys like an older woman. So there are still those around, which I think is good. I think it's really good that that they show that in movies, that a younger guy can be with an older woman. There's a lot of good things about an older woman because she knows exactly what she wants. She doesn't play games with the guy. She's very straight and direct. You know, she's a lot more settling for him. She's like got her stuff together a lot more, so she knows where she is in life. She knows where she's headed, her goals, ambitions, and dreams. She pretty much is steadfast and strong. So there's a lot of benefits, to being with an older girl. Um, and I think, like, I know a lot more about communication skills now than I've ever known before. So I'm much better at communicating with a guy overall in a relationship, any scenario anyway. But I haven't met the guy of my dreams yet, personally. I haven't met the guy who totally loves me, and who wants to be in a relationship with me, you know. I do know of a person who loves me, but we're not suitable for a relationship. Not Indian guy, I'll have to say, but you know what I mean. And that person loves me. I know they do. But you know, I've yet to meet a person that loves me, I love them, and we're suitable for an actual relationship. It would be really amazing. But in the meantime, I do really like my single life a lot. So yeah, if you've seen the film, What's Love Got to Do with It? I'd really like to know your views and opinions. Did you like the movie? Did you think the acting was as good as I thought it was? Did you like the fact they did show quite a lot of Pakistani culture in Lahore and you know, and they did try and portray the fact that some arranged marriages are good, but obviously some are fake and they're not really with their true love. How did you feel about that? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was realistic? Love to know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And grab a copy of Asexual Perspectives, which is out on Amazon, and Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. If you love superhero movies, you'll love this book because it's autobiographical. It tells you how to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star, even if you don't have fibro. A lot of these techniques work still. So yeah, grab your copy of these books now, and I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Lots of love. Take care. Bye. Bye.